Hi everyone. So this is a story session, and it's telling the story of using Agile to write my book. So to write Being Agile in Business, I very much took an Agile approach to it. So while it is quite a fixed, obviously printed product, I felt that the best way to go about writing my book was actually to take an Agile approach. Now, I was very lucky. I was approached by Pearson and my editor, Eloise, who is fantastic. And when she explained the traditional publishing approach to me, I was a little bit concerned. So if you like, a little bit like a kind of linear process, linear traditional project management process. It was all about planning the book up front, having a proposal and an outline of exactly what was going to go into the book, to then go away, write my 50,000 words, deliver that back to them within so it's about 9 months, and then go into the publishing process, which took another few months to do the proofing and the page setting and the printing and the cover, etc. So that was a very traditional process, and the bit I didn't really like was the bit in the middle, where I disappeared into a room cupboard and wrote 50,000 words in isolation, and then delivered them to her a month before the key deadline, knowing that probably there was going to be an awful lot of rework to be done in that month between, initial sort of submission and rework to go forward into the publishing process. So I asked her, could we take an Agile approach? Would she be open to take an Agile approach within the writing process? So we couldn't really have much impact on the planning element. We had to get approval through a committee, a green light process. We did take an iterative approach to that as well, so that we could get through that bit as quickly as possible, really. And then the iterative process, using that again within the writing process. And then when it came to publishing, we were really kind of back into that linear process. We didn't have control of that at all. It was much more of a kind of one hit kind of thing. So what we did was we very much took an Agile approach. So we broke things down. So with the initial proposal, I put forward a draft proposal, and I do have a photograph of that draft, which is here. As you can see, it has the sections actually of the proposal document that you have to put together. So these are the sections of the proposal document, and the post-it note represent ideas. So these are all the things that I kind of got out of my head initially in terms of what I thought, the title might be, what the short pitch and the long pitch for the book, a bit about me, who my reader is, my objectives as an author, how we might market the book, what competition is out there, how we can deliver the book, and any extra details down there in the bottom. And then you can see in the middle there, I've got a bigger box which is content. So these are all the ideas of contents that go into it. So for the proposal, what we needed to do was to basically fill out all these bits into a document and an outline, which would then go to committee and get a traffic light. And actually, we were told that nobody ever gets so there was a manage my expectations talk in terms of no proposal gets approved first time it goes to committee. There are always revisions. What we did was actually we did do a couple of drafts of the proposal, and then we shared those. So Eloise shared those and got some initial feedback as well. So we then adjusted the proposal before it went to committee, and it did actually get a green light, which was absolutely brilliant. But it was because we'd done the groundwork and we had actually talked to the committee and they had sight of it, which meant that they could give their feed in early. So actually the proposal that was submitted was had already taken into account some of their thoughts and their ideas and considerations, which were really great to include. So that was the first proposal that actually I sent to Eloise, which was really great because it was a really great conversation starter, really helped get my thoughts out and talk about them and really make some decisions on what was going to be included, what wasn't going to be included, what were good ideas, what were tangents, what were shiny things that I shouldn't be looking at, what are shiny things I should be looking at. So that was really great. And then as we went into the book writing process, again, I wanted to take this kind of sprint approach. So rather than seeing this 50,000 words as one big long marathon with a document at the end, what I asked was that I could break it down into sprints. So every few weeks I would send Eloise my work in progress. She would then look at that feedback with comments, and then I would be able to adjust and respond to that and amend those parts that I'd written, and then write a little bit more and send that to her in response. So we had a kind of really simple key that was like black text was done, purple text was have a look at this, give me your feedback, and then red text was don't worry about this is just kind of bullet points and ideas that haven't actually turned into paragraphs and sections yet, but they're just me capturing my thoughts. And that process worked really, really well. And I often joke that she de-Cornished me. So some of my language, I very much write as I speak. So she was and give me some brilliant tips like that would work really great in bullet points. So I write lots of big long sentences, and I actually learned that putting things into bullet points was a really great way of kind of really helping to present that better and to improve the quality of my writing. And of course, because we did that really early on in the process, in the first few weeks of me writing, it meant that I could take that forward for the other, 40,000 words I had to write. I wasn't getting that feedback when I'd already written the 50,000 words, and then I would have had to rework all those things into paragraphs and bullet points and things like that. So actually it really reduced the amount of rework that I needed to do because I got that feedback early. And we got the manuscript in on time. It actually only took 16 weeks, which was, I think, a bit of a record as well. But I just found that process, certainly from a creative process point of view, when I sent that manuscript to Eloise, it kind of unlocked that cycle. So it's kind of, I went into review and reflection mode because I'd sent it. And then that almost always gave me this little injection of writing that I would almost come out immediately once I'd sent it. So sometimes I would sneak another version in, and if you haven't already opened the last one, use this one, because literally thousands of words would drop out. So I think there's definitely something in the creative process that helps to unlock that and stop us from getting things like that writer's block and things like that. I did suffer with writer's block really late on, so around probably sprint 5, 6, so 40,000 words, I really kind of how to finish, and that was really interesting in really kind of taking a step back, revisiting the backlog as well. So what I did realize was that I had like 100,000 words still in my backlog, which was probably why I was causing a block. So that was really great for me because it meant that I could just pick 10% of that backlog and say, right now, if I do that, then that's my 50,000 words and I'm done, and Eloise said, you can always write a second book, you can always add to it, also create some YouTube videos. So it's yeah, really interesting, and that really helped me. I mean, as a personality type, I'm not particularly a completer finisher. I like things when they're new and shiny, so actually that really helped get me over to the finish line, and into the publishing process. So as part of that, I mean, it was really great, in the later sprints as well, when we did actually get into that publishing process. What was really brilliant was the guys that were contracted to do the promotion for the book and the engagement for the book were a brilliant team, and I'd had a few conversations with them, and they'd had a look at the book, and this mirror on the right hand side here is actually their mirror. So they'd taken on board the Agile stuff and started visualizing the projects and the books that they were working on. Eloise similarly, took on board some of the processes, started using them with other writers. And I've done quite a lot of work with Pearson since, which is absolutely brilliant because it really shows, I think, how easy it is to pick up and use, and take an agile approach to things, and use that to build that trust, build that support and that reassurance, and that things are getting done, and actually create better results for it. So, you know, I feel like elements of the book, you know, are really great because of that iteration, because of that feedback that I had throughout the process, not just right at the end. So I hope you found that story interesting. It's always a strange one to tell, because it did work really, really well. And it's nice when that happens. And it's nice to have a story which is slightly different. So if you're writing a book, I hope this, you know, you find this useful as a process, as an approach that you can take on board. But also, you know, if you're using Agile in lots of other ways, it's a really nice metaphor type analogy story, I think, that might really help you if you're, you know, maybe you're creating an annual report, or you're creating something that you have to put together, that actually you could take this approach to that as well. So, or if you're a student writing an assignment, or whatever it might be. So yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed that. If you have, please do give the video a like, do subscribe, and if you'd like to chat more about writing a book, or got any questions, then please, you know, put them in the comments or get in touch. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks very much. Oh, and do buy the book.